Welcome to the session on active and passive voice. In fact, if we list out the major topics in grammar which are essential for us to build a base in its usage or to have a basic confidence while speaking or writing English. If we list out from the beginning, first one is obviously parts of speech. To have the idea about the words, its meanings or its categorization in general. But if you talk about the next, which is the next main topic that we have to know, is sentence types. If you go to the deeper level of study, you have very complicated ideas, but at the basic stage, as a basic understanding, we have to know the four basic sentence, simple categorization of four types of sentences. Then we move to tenses, which is the real essential part of it. Once we are thorough with the tenses, 75% of our problem with the language and its usage is over. Then we can talk about active and passive voice as the fourth main topic, preferably the fourth main topic. I do not mean that other important parts, other important topics are not there in this language, but if we take this language to build a basic idea about its structure, construction, meaning building, or sentence building, these topics will be enough, at least to have an idea and basic understanding of these topics. It itself will be enough. And as the fifth topic, we can talk about reporting of sentences, like reported speech. If you take as at the competitive exam level, or as a graduation, or as a lover of English language, want to speak English, want to build to construct correct sentences in English. Or if you want to write in English, write as beautiful sentences, you want to be creative. Wherever these topics will do. If you are truly interested, if you want to delve deep, you can go to the level of linguistic studies. So you will get more complicated topics there. But at the base, as a basic in the beginning, these 4 or 5 topics will do. And that's now next. That's the way already posted the sessions on parts of speech in detail, both Malayalam explanation and English, exclusively in English videos are there in this way. So now after tenses, I would like to go to active and passive voice. Sometimes it seems a difficult topic, but I would like to. I have kept this kind of a table here is. In one table, with this one table, we will be able to learn or at least build a basic idea about active and passive voice, or what this active voice is, what this passive voice is. Actually, about any topic, that itself is the major part. Why should we know this? Why do we learn this? What is the purpose? What is the relevance of such a topic in our linguistic study? That itself is the concern. Most of us actually find some topics difficult, not just in grammar, but in any area. Because we do not actually, it doesn't make sense, or someone, see, people do not tell you why it is needed. Sometimes you do not get it from anywhere. And we learn in a mechanical way, sometimes for the sake of examination. And we find it very boring. But here, that's why with every topic, I try to suggest or to get what I know from that. what is the relevance of the topic and how it will be helpful for us in excelling, at least in becoming fine with this language, becoming comfortable with this language. So with active and passive voice as well. So active and passive voice. First of all, we have to know what this active voice is, what this passive voice is. Active voice you do not have to learn once you have finished of learning tenses. Because active voice means nothing but the exact sentences that you build in the order with the available tenses in English. Please see the list. Now I'm going to zoom the page. Actually, we have written down, we know the names of 12 different tense forms in English now. And you can see here, all those tense forms, that their names are written again here in active and passive voice. Why? You already finished off learning tenses. Then what is the need of this listing out the tense names of the tenses here? There is a need, there is a purpose, there is a reason. Because active voice and passive voice, this is our statement, this is the topic, name of our topic. Actually, sometimes we refer this to be sentence transformation, but simply we say this to be active and passive voice. Here, active voice means, and we see in the table that I told you, we are going to build a very basic notion. As with any topic, as with any other topic, you can delve deep to go to many other complicated ideas, but we are trying to build the base. In that case, I promise you, within this table, just with this table, you will be able to get a basic idea about this topic. In that case, I would like to tell you in the very beginning, just what we have to know or what we have to keep in mind is the basic names of the tenses, 12 tenses. It's in the table you can see here. Yeah, with the present tense, simple present, present continuous, present perfect continuous in the very order. Then under past category also you see simple past, past continuous, past perfect continuous in the order. Then comes future tense. Simple future, future continuous, future perfect continuous in the order. So this is the first part of the table. The table that comprises of three main parts. In that first part, you see this as the names of the tenses. We don't have to learn anything after actually about it, because already we know the tense forms, different names, everything in the order itself now. So now to active voice. Just have a look at this table or this column. Simple present tense. Here you see a particular sentence. Sergeant writes a story. Just try to identify that sentence or try to identify this tense. Actually, as it is written against simple present, we can easily identify that sentence to be it's constructed using the rule of this tense. Let's look that Sergeant, subject of the sentence. Sergeant writes, W-R-I-T-E-S. It's a singular subject. In simple present tense, does plus write means writes or becomes writes. If it is I or you or they write a story. But here, now consistently we take one subject for making a basic idea. Sergeant writes a story is the simple sentence. From this tense we take for the sake of getting the real notion. Writes a story. A story is the object of this main verb. What does he write? He writes a story. What does Sergeant write? Sergeant writes a story. So here we don't have to go to question or anything for the time being. Please take the very simple as positive sentences or affirmative sentences so that things will be more clear. Later we can go to different kinds of sentences if and when necessary. So Sergeant writes a story. Simple present tense, normal sentence. Very active sentence. Actually, active voice means this is why next tense also we will see this. Present continuous with the same subject, but to get the continuity, notion of continuity, we use this tense. Notion of continuity in the present, we use present time, we use present continuous. So that sergeant, singular subject, from am, is, are. The options we take is as the suitable helping verb. As it is a continuous tense, writing a story. Writing, write plus ing. Ing form of the verb only should be there with the continuous tense. Then the object. Then the object. Then the third type under present tense, it's present perfect tense. With the same subject, sergeant, we take from has and have, we take has as the suitable helping verb because sergeant is a singular subject and we need V3 form of that verb, write, wrote, written. In the case of write as a main verb, V3 form is written, which is only suitable in the case of any perfect tense including present perfect. Sergeant has written a story. A story, again here in the sentence also it is the object of the main verb. Okay. With the, what about the fourth construction? Present perfect continuous. Again, same subject we take, sergeant. Has been. From the list, has been or have been. But here for the singular subject, it's has been. As it is a continuous tense, again we opt the ing form of the verb. Then the object. What we have done actually? For the four of these tenses, four different types of four sentences. Exactly, we take the same subject, same main verb, same object, but we constructed sentences using the rules of different tenses listed. Okay, we have already finished off reading out the sentence constructed under present category. So what can we assume from this? Active voice means this is listed under active category. You can see this column. All these sentences. Again you can check out past and simple past. The same active kind of a statement, active part I have written. Sergeant wrote a story. We know write, wrote, written. For simple past tense, an affirmative sentence, we just have to choose the V2 form along with the subject and object. So sergeant is the subject. Again we take the consistency, maintain the consistency. Write, wrote, written. From that V2 form of the verb, we can take that form only with this tense. Simple past tense only takes V2 form of the verb. Then the object. So you can see that sentence also is the active one in under simple past category. So simple, normal, the very basic sentence we take in tense. Actually, whenever we start teaching tenses, we start with some affirmative sentences in that. It's not mandatory, it's not compulsory. But we do it. We do so for the sake of making things starting from the very simple and basic points. Then past continuous tense. Okay, we can check out all those in the very beginning itself. Past continuous. Sergeant, subject. Was or were. Singular subject takes was as the helping verb. Then, as it is a continuous tense, it's ing form, writing. Again, the object, a story. What about past perfect tense? Subject, sergeant. Only one helping verb is the had. As it is a perfect tense, it should be V3 form already. V3 form of the verb itself should be the then the object. Then Past perfect tense also is clear there. Then past perfect continuous tense. Please look at this column only. Don't look at this passive voice column now. We will discuss that soon. So past perfect continuous. The fourth type under past category, Sergeant had been. This only helping verb available. Had been writing, as it is a continuous tense. It's ing form of the verb. A story. Okay. Then that part also is the object of this main verb, so that part also is over. All the basic sentence types under past category. We write it against the names of the tenses as listed in the order. Then we shall go to future tense. Future tense. Simple future. Very simply we can construct Sergeant will write a story. Will or shall. From that we opt will. Okay, write. V1 form only shall be verb. Write is the main verb and a story is the object of that main verb. Simple future tense. Then future continuous. The second type under future category. Sergeant will be or shall be. From that we opt one of the main helping verbs will be writing a story. Writing, ing form of the verb. Writing a story. A story as the object of the main verb again. What about the third type under future category? Future perfect tense. Sergeant, we take a subject Sergeant will have or shall have. From that we opt will have. Okay, will have as the helping verb. Then as it is a perfect tense, V3 form. So we know we write, wrote, written. Which is the V3 form? Written. So we choose that. Written. A story as the object again. And the last type in tense category, future perfect continuous. Or under future tense, the last category, future perfect continuous. Sergeant, subject, will have been as the main verb, helping verb. Two helping verbs are available, but we opt for will have been. We have shall have been also there. So Sergeant will have been as the helping verb. Then you select the ing form of the verb because it's a continuous tense. Then, the object. So we finished off reading out all the basic sentences against all the 12 tense form listed out here in the order. Means, what can we assume? What idea do we get from there? What is the idea that we avail from here? Actually, active voice means we do not have to learn it again. If you are a person who is thorough with the tenses, you don't have to check out again with the active voice. Means you have already learned it. Active voice means the real sentences, the basic sentences that you build according to the rules of tenses in English. Means for the sake of making tenses clear, we opt for different subjects. We opt for different main verbs and we can practice that with I write, I am writing, I have written. Instead of that, we have one more thing is the object is necessary if you have to do anything with the active and passive voice transformation. At a basic stage, we sometimes avoid adding objects. Instead of saying, okay, I can say like that. I write a story. I am writing a story. I have written a story. I have been writing a story. I wrote a story. Simple past. I wrote, written. You cannot other different helping verbs. Different. You can try this with the different subjects. Let us take he is right. He writes a story. Instead of writing, we can take he takes a book. He is taking a book. He has taken a book. He has been taking a book. He took a book. He took a book. He was taking a book. He had taken a book. Perfect. He had taken a book. He had been taking a book. He will take a book. He will be taking a book. He will have taken a book. Will have been taking a book. So with the different subjects, what do we do actually to make things, make tenses very clear? We select different subjects, different main verbs, then different objects. That's what we are doing in active voice. We have already studied that. We have already learned it along with the tenses. So in passive voice construction, active and passive voice or sentence transformation, what we have to do is to see the passive voice of the sentence. But that's not enough. Sometimes you may get questions too. Already a passive form is given. Then you have to transform, you have to change it into active voice. We will be able to do that. Only 3 or 4 details are needed. Okay, you are given a particular sentence. I am copying the sentence here. First sentence here for the sake of explanation. Yes, Sergeant writes a story is the first sentence we have with us. Don't think that this is, okay, I have taken that, I have already copied that from this column, this table, so that we can look at that independently. Okay, so what we have to do with a sentence when you get it for transformation, for some examination or when you are learning, you get a particular sentence. You don't have any other details. You just get a sentence. In that case, an isolated sentence. Here it is not isolated. Here you have already availed with the tense and all. But normally in a question or in a classroom when you have an exercise practice question, you get a particular sentence. Then the first thing, if it is a question for sentence transformation, first thing you have to know is, first task you have to perform is identifying the subject and object. Mark down the subject and object. By reading out the whole sentence, all sentences, I already mentioned that. But we get different subjects, different objects, different main verbs. But this is the beginning. So again I mark down here which is the subject of this sentence. Sergeant is the subject. So you can do like that. You can, if it is a notebook or paper, you can mark down the subject here. Subject. Then make it very short, very small. You just write down that as a note the subject. You underline the term and write down the subject. What is the next thing that we have to know? Then the object. Obviously, after a main verb, you can identify with the main verb. If an object is there, you can definitely identify that. So, which is the object of this particular sentence or that main verb? This object is the story. A story is the object of this particular sentence. So here, Sergeant, I underline the subject. You can follow this step when you have a text notebook with you. You underline the object. Then next task is about identifying the tense. Okay, you get a sentence. No one is going to tell you, okay, this transform this sentence in simple present tense or present perfect tense or simple future tense into passive voice. No one is going to get you such a question. It's our task. It's your task. It's our next step. It's our responsibility to identify the tense also. So when you get such a sentence, just look at the subject. Look at the main verb. Actually, with the main verb, if you do not have an identifiable helping verb, So most of the tenses avail their helping verb very directly. Those are directly used. But we know in a simple present and a simple past, we come across such a task. We do not have in affirmative, especially in affirmative sentences, we do not have that do, does, or did directly available. We have to identify that by looking at the tense form or its addition. Sorry, tense of not the tense form, the main verb form and its some additional features. Whenever you see rights or any s or es added with the main verb, you can definitely take that to be a sentence constructed in with the rule of simple present tense only, no other tense. Out of the 12 different categories, no other tense form takes s or es as a main verb, as an addition for main verb. So writes, whenever you see writes in a sentence in as a main verb, writes or any s or es form with the main verb format, it is definitely a simple present tense sentence. If it is instead of sadhan, if it is you or they or even I, it's only right. There is no s or es needed. As it is does plus right, sadhan is a singular subject. Does plus right, this is rights. This becomes rights. But if it is going to be a plural subject or the specifically I as a subject has got a special mention. So I plus do plus main verb. That also is it's going to be I write a story. But here as it is a singular subject, you can easily identify, it's easily available writes. So you can identify this tense to be simple present. So along with you just write down as a note somewhere in the bracket or somewhere, simple present is the simple present tense. So next, the second step is over. You identify the tense. Then, interchanging the subject with the object. That task is remaining actually. Let us see how we can mark it down with some shapes here. Interchanging the. Let us see whether we can mark it down in that way. Let us see. Not that well versed in technique. But still we will see with some shapes we will draw that out. The interchanging, we will try to show that. Let's see with this symbol at least. Let's see. It's going to be interchanging. That's all what I want to show actually. Interchanging. That's one from the other. Yeah. Basic minimum quality still it's okay. I think it's clear from this picture. This representation. Hope it's going to be. Hope is making sense. That is, yeah, you are interchanging. From here, actually, a story will become the first part of the passive voice and you are going to shift the subject to the next part. How will it happen? We will see that. So, interchanging is the main portion, main task we have to do in an active and passive voice transformation. That's the main task actually. So, here, then my main verb. We have to identify the main verb. Obviously, we have to identify that main verb. And what is the next task with the main verb? Main verb identifying is not just enough. But with every passive voice treatment, every passive voice transformation, we have to get the V3 form of the verb, V3 form of the main verb. V3 form only can be used in any tense, whichever tense it may be. The active voice sentence is just in its own rule, under its own rule. There is no V3 form needed here. It's as the way a simple present tense is made. Sentences made. But here we are going to see the transform the passive voice form. For that, with any transformation, any passive voice transformation, we will see or we can use only the V3 form of the verb. So that we are going to take the specific example here. That particular example I am going to take, that's transform the sentence along with the construction. These rules have to be learned. The rules, the how, and again it will be very simple when you discuss it in this table. Let us see that. Let me see whether I can copy down the sentences. Yeah, what is happening here? The same sentence, the passive voice transform the sentence I am taking. What is happening? As it is already told as the first step, we have already identified the subject and the object. We interchange it as it is mentioned so that a story comes in the first part. And this main subject of the sentence goes to shifts to the last position on the position of the object. That part is over. But in between something is happening. We have to look at that very thoroughly well. What is happening actually? This is the rule. This is the rule. What is that? Subject. So that object which is shifted to the position of towards the position of the object, and the object which is shifted towards the position of the subject. That is already there. But every time we write down the subject in the beginning part itself. So here the object of the sentence becomes the subject. But we cannot write down, instead as it is an object which is taken here, we cannot write down here to be object. But in the passive form also, for the sentence, there is an object. There is a subject. So that position cannot be changed. Only those terms which are occurring on the positions of subject and object can be interchanged. But when you write down the construction, you have to mention this itself as the subject. Means it's not just interchanging, but the object of the sentence becomes the subject. That's it. It's not about object is shifting with its performance, with its role in the sentence, but it becomes transformed into the subject itself. It's not just it is not about the position only, but the task of that term. Actually, in this particular sentence, a story is performing as the object, but when it is shifted for the sake of making a passive voice sentence, it is becoming the subject of that passive voice itself. This is the passive voice. Let us see what is happening. Subject plus, this rule is the am or is or are. From where does this am or is or are come? Actually, it's a rule, as we have to learn it as a rule. But for the sake of convenience, if you want to remember that easily, you can take that as a kind of this tense. From the second tense, you just take you take it as a loan. From here, you take the helping verb. We know, obviously, when you write down simple present tense, we know the second type of simple present category is present continuous. And simply we know the helping verbs as am, is, are. So this is very generous. This tense is very generous. It's going to get this as a loan. You are taking am, is, are from this particular next tense. You are taking those three options. That options how it will work out we will see. And next next is about am or is or are. Subject plus am or is or are, which we actually learn from the next tense. This is not actually, I'm very funnily I'm describing that. Just to remember that. Otherwise, we will be confused. Why in simple present tense, why do we take all these am, is, are, which is again part of the next tense. And again, it is a continuous notion of continuity. Why do we take all those in that way? To avoid that confusion, to remember that very easily, we take simple present tense. It is taking it as a loan. It is taking or it is using the, for the sake of making it passive voice, it is using the available helping verbs in its neighbor of its neighbor. That is the present continuous tense. Then V3 plus by plus object. It's constant for every passive voice form. Look at the table. Only we have to learn the first part, which are going to be the suitable helping verbs according to the need and purpose. That we have to learn. But after that, you can see with every subject, every sentence type, every passive voice form, V3 plus by plus object is the constant. V3 means V3 form of the verb only can be taken, used in any tense, any passive voice formation. That is already given. And one more offer is available here. We have listed out the 12 tense forms in English. You can now see this table very clearly well. 12 tense forms in English. We have listed out the 12 different constructions in active form, under active column. But under passive form, you can see again certain tenses, passive form is not available. So we are free from learning the rule construction. We don't have to, there will not be a question to transform such a sentence. Under present perfect, under present category, only the first three tenses have got passive form. So you don't have to, we are free from the burden of learning the fourth rule or fourth tense and its transformation. Active statement is definitely available. Sergeant has been writing a story, but there is no passive form for that. With the past tense also, we have an offer. The first three types have got passive forms, but the fourth type doesn't have a passive form. Means Sajan had been writing a story. You can definitely talk about such an active statement, but there is no passive form for that. Now you are coming to future tense. It's even more generous. First type for simple future has got a passive form. The second one future continuous as a type. It's also as usual active form is available, but there is no passive form for that. The third under future category, future perfect has got an active and passive form, but the fourth under that, future perfect, again is lacking in its passive form. Means under present tense we have to learn the construction rule of only first three. Fourth one, you will not get a question or you do not have a situation to transform it into passive format. What about the past tense? The first three has got the formation rules, everything. Passive form is there, but fourth one is lacking in that. There is no passive form, so we do not have to learn any rules or construction, anything, formation, anything. What about future tense? The first and third odd numbers. See, if you learn the tense names, everything in the order, this will become very simple. That's all. Simple future, first one and the third one, odd numbered future categories have got passive form. second and fourth, 2 and 4, even numbered tense forms under future do not have passive form. So in total 3 plus 3 plus 2. Only 8 rules we have to learn to make it very clear and thorough. If you are thorough with the tenses, this is going to be a very easy and a very comfortable transformation. Again, I am just marking down the V3 plus by plus object as a very common factor, common part of any passive voice form. So we just try to learn that now itself. V3 plus by plus object. Which is the main verb that we got? We just have to write down the V3 form in the very beginning of our transforming task, so that things will become very simple again. Then what are we doing? According to the first rule, I have just copied down the rule. That's all. Sergeant writes a story. You are taking the subject, sergeant, to the position of the object, so that a story, the interchanged object becomes the subject. Then you are taking am or is or are. From that, now you have to choose. Already we have an option like am, is, are. Now you are choosing. How? Am, is, are. Am is suitable only for I. Is as a helping verb is suitable for any of the singular subjects. Are as a helping verb is suitable for any of the plural subjects. Here see that in this sentence, now we are looking at this sentence and choosing the apt one for this. A story. We know it's a singular subject. Only one, a story. So that from this list we choose is as the suitable helping verb. Okay. For this particular sentence, is taken as the suitable helping verb. Instead of a story, if it looks like stories, we have to choose nothing but are. Because instead of a story, if it is stories, already the subject becomes plural. So that from the available list, we have to take are as the helping verb. Then V3 plus by plus object. From where does we get this, from where do we get this V3 form? Write as identify, write as the basic submain verb. Which is the V3 form of the verb? Written by sergeant. Means, in the active, what do we actually mean by this? Sergeant writes a story. What does the sentence communicate to us? The sentence says us, this person does this task, writes on the spot, this person performs this task. So that you want to say, this task at the moment of speaking is performed by this person. You just want to make in the active sentence, the very person who is performing the task is active, the subject is active. But in passive form, you are just to transform, you are just giving a reverse sense. So that the sentence, the subject, the real crucial part of that sentence is not in an active state. It is told that some task is performed by this person. Means if it is a simple present tense, then we know it is that particular sentence may get us, most often it gets us a momentary action. An action happens at the time of speaking. So the same idea, you want to communicate it in a very different way. Like on the spot, this task is, the particular task is performed by this person. If it is writing, it's written. If it is reading, it's read. R-E-A-D, read, V3 form. So that is a very simple notion actually. So the same idea, see, if it is present continuous, Rajani is writing a story. When you take that, when you get the passive voice notion, we will discuss that in the next session. It is prolonged a video, long a video. It will become a long video if you if I incorporate all this in this itself, so we'll discuss that in the next session. Sajani is writing a story. We know the active sentence, active statement gets us the notion of this person performing the task in a very continuous manner in the present. So that you want to get the notion of this task being task is continuing in the present but is getting performed in a continuous manner by this person. So, a story is being written by Sajak. We will discuss that format later. Then we will understand. Sajan writes a story. Sajan ഒരു കഥ എഴുതുന്നു. Spot action. A story is written by Sajan. The same idea ഒരു കഥ സാജനാൽ എഴുതപ്പെടുന്നു. Sajan is writing a story. Sajan ഒരു കഥ എഴുതിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നു. The same sentence you make it in the passive, you change it into passive. So, ഒരു കഥ സാജനാൽ എഴുതിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കപ്പെടുന്നു. Actually, in Malayalam, we do not usually go for this. We do not usually use such passive form for basic communication or very casual communication. But in English, it's very useful. Most often, it's useful. Commonly used, so that it's very important that we know the passive voice form also. Simply we can say, active form. Every time we can say things in the active state of the sentence subject. But sometimes at least this is preferable that you transform and make it very clear in passive form as well. So just one sentence and its construction we have discussed. In the coming video sessions, we will discuss the different other sentences, other tenses, other sentences constructed in different other tenses, and then we will go to the rules separately. Thank you so much for listening. Okay.